When we're struggling with our brains, we usually focus in on the specific issue that's interfering the most in our lives. But if you want to get over this for good and you want to sustain great mental health, you really have to look much more broadly, or else it's very natural to keep falling back into the same problems or similar problems. You've got to go after patterns of thinking and behavior everywhere, not just in that one area. Here's an example. Let's say you're struggling with uncertainty in relationships and you're always doing lots of things to check and control your partner because of those struggles with uncertainty. You're always doing things like asking them where they're going and who they're going with, or you're checking on Instagram and you can see now because it shows you that they're online, so why haven't they answered your DM yet? And even when you're together, you're always checking where they're looking. Like, are they looking at other people because they find them more attractive than you? But even if they are looking at you, you're wondering in your head, are they looking at me right now because they're judging the way I look because I don't look good? Or maybe you're always trying to get reassurance from them and you're always trying to make sure that they love you, or you're always trying to read into every single little thing that they do, every message they send, every comment they make to see if you want to judge if that comment means something about their feelings towards you and your relationship and what's going to happen in the relationship. And you recognize that all of this isn't great for your relationship, it's not great for your health, and you also recognize, you're anxious about this stuff, you're afraid of, getting abandoned, you're afraid of being alone. These are big fears that have always really troubled you and stressed you out. And so recognizing that, you decide, I'm going to work on tackling these compulsions, I'm going to handle this relationship uncertainty, and I'm going to shift the focus to building a healthy relationship. And so that is great. The thing is, do not stop there. We have to look at how we handle uncertainty. Not only uncertainty related to relationships, we have to look at uncertainty, period. Like all uncertainty. Because when we run into problems with our mental health, our brains are so often only repeating things, patterns of thinking and behaving that we have taught them, or that they've learned from others around us. So I'll give you an example of that. Let's say you go into work in the morning and the first thing you do is send your boss an email. Just a question about some kind of random, totally innocuous thing, because you don't actually care about the topic of the email. You just want to see how quickly your boss responds because you've been really behind on a project lately, and so you want to see if your boss is angry. You want to see how quickly she responds to you, because if it doesn't seem like she's angry, then you're going to ask her about some time off that you want. But reminding yourself that you're behind on that project makes you feel kind of anxious on that, and you're upset with yourself that you've fallen behind, you don't like that. So then it's actually kind of hard to get down to work because you're just thinking about all that work you need to do. It's kind of overwhelming. So you decide first, you want to calm down and get grounded. So you're just going to go online and check your favorite news site. I mean, you've already checked it a couple times this morning. You're just going to check and see if there's some other kind of interesting article there you can read, maybe something you're offended by that you can be angry about and correct and control. But speaking of checking, actually, you had made an Instagram post earlier today, and you'd love to see you just want to check how many people have liked it, because if a lot of people like it, then maybe that means something about you. But then too, if a lot of people don't like it, then that must mean something as well. And actually, when you check, not that many people have liked it. So then you start looking at other Instagram posts on other people's profiles because you want to see how many likes those people are getting for similar posts to yours. Because why are they getting more likes than you are? Because it's the same post, right? But since you got your phone out anyway and you're not really you don't feel ready to get down to work yet, you may as well check a post you made on Reddit earlier, because it's kind of on a controversial topic and you don't want to offend anybody. So you just want to check and make sure, okay, nobody got offended by that comment or misunderstood what your intentions were. Now all of this has kind of got you a bit hungry again. You've already been to the office kitchen once, but there were donuts there, and now it pops in your head, hey, maybe everybody else has had a chance to get some donuts now, and what if there's still some donuts there? So you get up from your desk and you go to check the office kitchen because you want to know if there's still a donut there. I mean, you've already had 2 donuts, but maybe there's a third donut, and that would be really awesome. And after you have that donut, then you'll be ready to get down to work. And that probably all happens in the first hour or first 30 minutes of the workday. Right? And then that just continues for so many of us throughout the day. Our relationship with uncertainty is a practice every day. With every action we take, we're teaching our brains how to handle experiences, how to handle things like feelings, how to handle uncertainty, how to handle experiences we like and experiences we don't like. We're just constantly teaching it how to react to these experiences. The problem is, our brains are very logical. Our brains are very logical and very reasonable. And they'll explain why this is a problem using the Mark Freeman donut-based emotional pain scale. Take a look. So this is a scale to help you, articulate the emotional pain, like anxiety, depression, things like that you're feeling. And we use donuts. So a 1, so the most minimum amount of pain, that's the feeling that you have when there are donuts, and there are good donuts, but there are so many you can't possibly eat them all. Right? And then a 10 is when there are donuts, but there are no good donuts. So actually there are donuts there, but you don't want to eat them. Like, you're gonna eat them all, but you're gonna miss the donuts that could be there. So having no donuts, that's off the scale. That's way off the scale, because that's an unconceivable amount of pain to experience. So in that example there of that person checking at work, they wanted to go up and check to see if there were still any donuts left in the kitchen. They'd already had 2, but they wanted to see if they could get a 3rd. So the possibility of not getting a 3rd donut, that's also really bad. That's off the scale, because you've already had 2 donuts, so you really understand what you're losing by not getting a 3rd donut. On a 10-point scale, that's like a 12. I'm very scared of not getting that 3rd donut, so I'm going to experience a lot of anxiety if I don't check and resolve that uncertainty. Okay, now what if we go back to what we were talking about at the very beginning with the relationship anxieties? Right, so we decided that's because there's a fear there of being alone, a fear of being abandoned and dying alone in the corner of a Dairy Queen basement, hated by everybody. Right, so that's scary, right? That's like a 15. It's going to make me very anxious if I don't check or try to control the uncertainty surrounding that fear. Right? That's all those checking and controlling compulsions we talked about earlier. Okay, but wait, you see here, this is the problem. I checked on the donuts. I experienced the uncertainty about the donuts, and I reacted to it. But getting abandoned and being alone is something I judge as worse. Now, it's a little worse. It's not, not getting donuts is still really bad. And this is a little worse, being alone forever. But hopefully you realize how this makes no logical sense to your brain. You're willing to react to the uncertainty that's not nearly as bad as the uncertainty you're trying not to react to. So let's pause right here. If you do not understand what I was just explaining there, please do post questions down below. Because for me, understanding this really transformed how I take care of my mental health, how I approach mental illness. I credit this understanding with helping me sustain great mental health for many years now. I really don't see relapse as a possibility, because this understanding has just helped put so much distance between me and that place where I was when I was really struggling with my mental health. And it's because recognizing this is about understanding that we often get our approach to mental illness and mental health totally wrong. We focus in on the most difficult things while continuing to practice the same behaviors in all the other areas of our lives. And we really need to shift the focus and actually start to look at all the other areas and all the ways we're practicing these same behaviors, because they just naturally lead us to that place where we're really struggling, that place where we're experiencing lots of things that we don't like. We have to change our relationship with uncertainty, with the other feelings that we don't like, or else it's always like we're just standing at the edge of a cliff. Right? Like we said, okay, so here are some behaviors that are bad, so I'm not going to do those things, I'm not going to do those relationship compulsions anymore. But behind us, we've been taking all these steps throughout the day to the edge of the cliff as we've been engaging in the exact same patterns of behavior throughout our lives. And so we're just always walking up to the edge of the cliff, and then it's so stressful because our brain is going to constantly be trying to push us back in to those same old compulsions. It's going to be constantly anxious about those same issues or other similar issues, and we're always going to be just trying to hold ourselves on the edge of that cliff, just trying not to relapse, and it is so stressful. So give yourself space between you and the possibility of relapse by cutting out all of those patterns of behavior that keep taking you to the edge of the cliff. Look at the mental health challenges that you're running into, the things that you see as problematic, and then look throughout your entire life and all the areas you might see as normal. Look for those same patterns of thinking and behaving. Don't focus on changing a thought or trying to fix a feeling or even just a specific topic. Taking care of your mental health is going to be about ways of being. This is about how we handle the stuff in our heads, all of the stuff in our heads, and do the things that we care about in life, everywhere. It's not about individual triggers. This is about everything. Mental health is about everything because you do everything with your brain. But that actually makes it easier. See that as an opportunity. Don't be overwhelmed by that, because every single moment of the day is an opportunity to work on healthy skills, to build a better relationship with the experiences in our heads that we don't like. Well, we do the things we care about.